Welcome everyone to this update. Believe it or not, we are live streaming over IPv6, IP version 6. And I myself did not really see this coming today anymore because obviously we are your unsuccessful woman distribution that is not IPv6 ready. Also they said, just let me delete here because the previous live stream included an IP address that I probably permanently delete this video, only that's the right one. So long story short, do we even have, of course not so amazing stuff for YouTube. I know if you start a live stream and then cancel it and then start it again, then YouTube is not happy. But not only do I have this, so this YouTube management stuff still not fixed, still need just one snowflake machine where my YouTube studio stuff still works. That was one of my hopes. I hope that, okay, finally if I get here IPv6 working, then maybe this YouTube studio heals itself, but no, it didn't. So from the previous live stream, the summary that the reason why this probably didn't work, and a good example of big companies wasting others people's time. So it looks like, so I was trial and erroring here, debugging as usual. You have seen me PC emulator, and basically I attached debugger and strace to everything, not like other lesser professional or unprofessional stuff here. And so of course I debugged here for 3 hours because I finally after 1 year wanted this IPv6 to work. And it turns out I had already this, if this DHCP6C is the most amazing DHCP client for IPv6, I don't know, but at least it now works, and I probably had it patched already together correctly, which is of course also hilarious, right? 20 packages. So the reason this didn't work is most likely I overlooked in the log here from DHCP6C, this add interface prefix, invalid prefix length 65 plus 8 plus 65. This wasn't that obvious and didn't immediately ring a bell. And I still think, so first of all, if you run this DHCP something without anything and there's something wrong, it doesn't output something to standard error. I don't agree that this is the most amazing. If there's something wrong, always print something on the standard error, even if it's meant to run maybe from systemd, although this is old piece of shit right from a decade ago. But anyway, probably not designed for systemd, was a joke. For all of those new in the audience, this is a pure IPv6, how by the way to pronounce it best in English. Anyway, so proud after 20 years I finally have an IPv6 set up, and not only that, right now not only on this, so I manually, so why do I run this dongle? Because our Wi-Fi of course does not have IPv6 yet, and so I manually disabled here everything else and have this. So this is from our unsuccessful one-man distribution here, T2 SDE, totally not IPv6 ready. Auto configures here even up to the Mac. And summary for those who have tuned in now, the reason is my provider messed up. Beside of course, if you have run this, if you know the tools and have run and configured it once, then of course you already know the output, know what you need to look for, learning curve and all this fun stuff. So long story short, only of course randomly googling the internet, I found also from other providers like Comcast and whatever there in the States, but also mine here, Vodafone, failing cable DOCSIS, although today 0 drop frames over IPv6. Let's see how long this stays that way. That so this means this is it got a 64-bit prefix, and I requested to configure this /8 prefix for this forwarding here on the second internal interface, and this arguably maybe not most readable diagnostic line here means that it can't configure, you can't use this interface because 64-bit plus 8 plus 64-bit certainly is longer than 128-bit. In my opinion, I mean, not only, I wish, by the way, this stupid daemon would have not started because you think it's doing something and it's running and stuff, and then it didn't have of the thing it was supposed to do because of this amazing equation here. A problem also other people have in the world. So, and when I googled this further or internet searched this with DuckDuckGo and whatnot, not a paid advertisement here for anything, then I figured out finally, do I have this here? You see also here all the tabs maybe, all the hours of debugging and internet search. Let's see, channel, index, GitHub, here, maybe here. So our business line should get a /56 prefix, and I currently don't. And there you also see, so I could have spent here another day or week or whatever and trial and error with this bloody nonsense and would not probably have gone to solutions. So first of all, there appears to be some hints, some DHCP option hints that, hey, hello, nice, lovely DHCP server, I really want the prefix that I am supposed to get. So apparently if you do not do any special option stuff, then the provider says, you know what, you didn't ask for it, you don't get it. So it looks like this is why I got a /64-bit prefix here, and I probably can continue to try the whole weekend and will not get anything else, because here in this German forum post they write, as long, probably in some situations like this, as long as this DHCP lease is not expired and still valid, the stupid server will still hand me the /64 prefix and not the /56 prefix. Yeah, of course, totally not amazing, right? I mean, why would they do this? This is so hilarious. And you see, you configure something, no matter if it's our unsuccessful one-man distribution garbage here or some professional Oracle Unbreakable crap Linux or something of that sort. You could now try and debug and debug and debug, and you will not get another DHCP request probably for half a day or something of that sort. So long story short, never, I mean, professional infrastructure stuff should not be configured this way, in my opinion. They waste this, so they literally, probably for a year, as I said, every other quarter said, we finally need to get IPv6 working here. Not only for streaming here over IPv6 for the test, if that results in less drop frames or so, but also to test our own services, right? Because for so long I wanted, on the server, on the data center, we have IPv6, and I sometimes had this set up so much to people on Twitter telling me, where is it? So first of all, amazing suggestions, right? Take holiday, like, yeah, this is how the problem goes away, right? Thank you for this amazing suggestion. And yeah, you are not experienced enough, like, yeah, we have, by the way, where did I put the book already in the library? So much to keeping our amazing professional desk here sorted. So yeah, I brought this book 20 years ago. I read it probably mostly in full 20 years ago when I was in school, before university. So much to, I'm not educated enough, like, yeah, I'm not educated enough my ass. And it's also not my fault that providers for 15 years never supplied us with IPv6. So yeah, for as long as we have this business line, so until I think only, so also fun fact, this was business cable, and this failing Vodafone crap here in Germany, Berlin, that constantly drops the connections, and so today we have 0 drop frames. And this amazing business DOCSIS cable crap, in the beginning they could not even supply us with a fixed IP address, which I found hilarious, right? You call there and stuff, and like, hello, how do you call this business? You kidding me that we don't get a fixed IP address or what? So it took us calling a couple of, so the first 2 or 3 years we have been in this office, we didn't even have a fixed IP address for this supposedly business line. I mean, what kind of business line is that? And so you really need to read the fine print of everything. You think for some 100 Mbit DOCSIS cable line you get a fixed IP address, but even if it's business or not. So then only after 2 or 3 years, like a year or so ago, and it's also not that they called us, like they notified us like, hey, hello, we upgraded our option packs whatsoever, do you want your fixed IP address that you inquired already 10 times about? So I only accidentally discovered that they eventually last year, something of that sort, had a fixed IP address. And with the fixed IP address came this dual, before they never had this, before they either had, for consumers, they had this stupid carrier grade network address translation, which means you get IPv6 natively, natively, but all the IPv4 traffic which is basically all of the internet, is going through their carrier grade, which means big servers, on their side bridging all of this to IPv4. And the problem is some sites did not load at all, even on macOS, right? Not only on our one-man unsuccessful Linux script distribution, but even on macOS, even at home where we have had the same, just not business line. Most stuff worked, just not, for example, maybe it was either Anartec or, yeah, I think it was Anartec. So everything loaded except Anartec for some bizarre reason, and also some streaming was slow, like certainly when all the millions of customers of them, every streaming like iTunes and stuff. So we were looking with my wife iTunes and it was stuttering and loading and buffering. It was hilarious. So then I opted out of this pseudo IPv6 stuff. And so in the office, I certainly can't maintain server stuff on our data center servers for email and web services and stuff when I can't test it, right? So this is why I had this already configured on our data center, and I switched it sometimes off because there sometimes was here some problems, there's some hiccup, and then I can't have it running if I can't even really test it. So this was one of my main motivations why I finally wanted to get this running. And there you see, probably each time you start configure this, and you really get crazy with this kind of setup, that the commercial carrier grade stuff sends you then DHCP requests that do not match your supposed prefix configuration. And yeah, there you have it. Even the best can debug here one afternoon. But yeah, I could show you that this is really native IPv6, not only for the management interface here, which it has a dongle, but I don't want to show you the IP address. So this management interface, again, which some YouTube bug, as I said the other days, it can't make this stuff up. This was my other thinking, like maybe, of course, I'm not totally stupid. Of course, everyone from Debian to Twitter always thinks I'm the most dumb as. But of course, I cleared the browser caches. I even created a new user on my Linux because, of course, I'm not totally stupid. But a clear user, home directory, and all this, no browser cache and whatnot doesn't make this. YouTube, where do I even have this? Yeah, here. It's, yeah, amazing internet. YouTube, however, works. Otherwise, let's load here dashboard. So this is IPv6 only, and I'm surprised that the whole internet does it even 0 frames. I hope we're actually live streaming. And yeah, so by the way, for all those people on Twitter to tell me I'm too stupid, my distribution is too shit, and my distribution is not IPv6 ready. Yeah, for 20 years I don't know what I'm doing. So a fun fact, my distribution, our unsuccessful one-man distribution, by the way, this is a running gag for those people who are wondering, because some Debian people, the amazing friends of Debian, some of them sometimes call us like this. So this even auto-configures, right? I'm actually surprised. So just from having the IPv6 DHCP and stuff running on the server, on our unsuccessful one-man distribution server, you don't need to do anything on Linux, at least on my Linux here, it auto-configured. Let's see, we have actually comments in the audience. The Graver business without, yeah, this is what a big infrastructure like Vodafone and stuff called business. Consumer connection, and even have a fixed IP. Well, on the consumer stuff, if you have it running 24/7, you also don't get a new IP. It's dynamic, but it never changes. But the consumers, as I said, the consumers at Vodafone Cable Germany, they get for some years already carrier grade NAT. So this is, of course, they don't have IPv4 addresses anymore. For all the why do I make this fun videos, also probably many, well, I don't know, leave me in the comments below. Have you ever heard about IPv6? If you are just a regular gamer and are here for the fun streams and such, then curious to know if you know what we are talking about, if you've ever heard about IPv6 or stuff. This is also why I make these videos, to that people hear this kind of terms. and fun stuff. I wanted to make a couple of more notes. These streams are not just to old men yelling at the cloud. They're also that to learn something. Even I myself here packaging some new IPv6 ready DHCP daemon stuff here each and every day. Probably in the meantime on our one-man unsuccessful Linux distribution, in the meantime we probably have 10 packages of DHCP servers and clients and stuff, because you can never have enough of those. And so the reason I could show you proofs, but as I had already to delete the other stream that I streamed a minute, when I realized, wait a second, my IP address is on the screen. Certainly not the best idea, but I can show you that this is IPv6 because GitHub doesn't load. Like, seriously, what unsuccessful one-man company is that GitHub does not even have IPv6? So there you have a proof. Another proof, of course, our unsuccessful one-man web servers also don't load, because currently the server do have IPv6, but right now I don't have it. I think the main problem was actually at some point in time I couldn't use Let's Encrypt, because we are so cheapskate. Certainly we don't pay for SSL certificates. So at one point it didn't work, because they switched to, if you have a quad A pointer, however you want to pronounce that, in not a web management English native speaking guy here, so whatever, quad A pointer, correct me however you want to pronounce that. So, and then Let's Encrypt didn't give me certificate because somehow IPv6 routing. So then a couple of months ago I temporarily disabled it. But now that I have here some running configuration of IPv6, I probably can re-enable that on our servers, that our amazing servers are reachable with IPv6 again. This was actually the biggest motivation, actually not so much the can we YouTube live stream over IPv6, and maybe the connection has less drop frames, I don't know. Right now we have 0, which would be curious if IPv6 improves our drop frames. The main motivation was actually because I did not want it to be such an unsuccessful one-man company like GitHub and not have IPv6 on our servers forever. And yeah, no, can do this after the day is over and I'm tired and I've debugged this stuff all day. And certainly test IPv6 configuration on our unsuccessful one-man Linux distribution. Another fun fact, if you have IPv6 only, which I right now, of course right now theoretically this is dual stack, in our office temporary switched on. By the way, fun fact, if I would be a professional, I would probably not even have this configuration running right now, because right now our commercial carrier grade DHCP server is giving us this wrong /64 prefix, which I can't use for routing right now. So I've manually overwritten, right, with my 20 years of Linux Kung Fu here. I've manually IP-6 address at something yada 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 :1/64 def Ethernet 1 on the server to manually override this, to test this, and that works. So much to I do not have enough knowledge to configure IPv6 when even our commercial business carrier grade stuff can't get their DHCP server act together. And another fun fact, you can't with OBS on Linux at least, but probably maybe on OBS, I think you can't live stream with IPv6. So I'm running a patch. So our unsuccessful one-man YouTube channel and distribution channel here, I had to do some custom patching. Let me check the, yeah, it's a little bit too many. Where would this, wait a second, let's not expose my IP address again. Let me find the right terminal of the many terminals. Because they have some really curious code in there, which I will show you in a second when I have found the right of the many terminals here. Should it not be this one? Ah, it's this one. Just so then let's click there and click there, show that. And so I'm running a custom patch, which, yes, it is small. Can we, okay, wait a second. I can also run a new retro cool terminal here for the maximum views probably. So from our totally too stupid to do everything channel here, wait a second, this is not the right display. Also too many dual head monitors. So I running here this IPv6 only, I was already thrilled that everything is amazing by the way. Some more. This HDMI capture is also not amazing. I tell you, another winter I FPGA programming my own HDCP capture because the camera picture is so much more amazing. I don't know why is this bloody HDMI capture making this picture so dark. I have no... Somehow everything you don't do yourself sucks. Is basically the motto of this channel. So in our unsuccessful Linux distribution package, multimedia OBS Studio, I guess. And now I have here a custom and so prefer IPv6. So with an IPv6 only stuff, I couldn't live stream. It didn't. OBS said, "No, I can't connect to server." And then I tried to, of course, ping 6 this YouTube server and copy and pasted the IPv6 address in there. Still didn't work. And then I Googled, and of course, even just this enabling this live stream took me like 20 extra minutes of work. Because you see this kind of amazing stuff, right? And then people on Twitter tell me I'm too stupid. Of course I'm too stupid. That's why you're watching me, obviously, right? So, and yeah, it turns out this is a code here, and this is even just in this minute. This is the very latest stable release of OBS, and it turns out the OBS here. Let me. I could also improve here my YouTube stream setup. And no, my Mac sleeps. Let's move this here because there it's more amazing usually for this kind of terminal stuff. And as you can see, if you can read source code, is this now locked or not? No, it's locked. As you see from the source code, they have explicit code in there to prefer IPv4 if the server, the DNS request returns an IPv4 pointer, and this certainly doesn't work. So the OBS gets from the YouTube server, it gets, hey, we have IPv4 and IPv6, and then the OBS code explicitly first tries to iterate over the results here and matches AF address family underscore inet, and when it finds one, it assigns here this address. Here's this copy here to AI address len, and assigns this. And only if this result pointer is null, only then it iterates again over the results and assigns an inet6. So because YouTube, of course, the DNS query, of course, returns both, and this OBS code explicitly prefers the inet without 6.1, you can't live stream as far as I see, you can't live stream in a pure IPv6 only setup that I have intentionally right now for testing. So yeah, there you have that. In case you wondered, by the way, no, just realized for the rest of the live stream. So yeah, but of course we are totally don't know anything of what we are doing here. It's fun, you post something on Twitter, and of course everyone is more clever than you, but that is, of course, we don't. Oops, what? Why did this center that? It was locked. What is this? A usability bug here or what? I wanted to press Control D, apparently D. Sentences. To summarize this here on the internet, a lot of stuff works if you have never tried this and you're, what? Don't tell me. I thought slash dot not work. Don't tell me. Something else broke. Yeah, so a big German news site works. I think another big German news site does not work unless you probably need to. I thought slash dot works. Why does slash dot not work? I thought I opened this earlier. It's of course fun when you take a look on this kind of state of the internet. YouTube works, as we have seen previously already, but it's of course really curious to see 20 years later. If you have seen the previous live stream, I purchased the first book. Hey, for Ronix says IPv6, amazing stuff. But some other sites do not work, obviously. Hey, Ars Technica apparently not, and Tech maybe also not. And yeah, the internet, this is really curious to see, of course, some smaller sites like our unsuccessful woman distribution. What can you do? I didn't even hit IPv6 until recently myself. But the big sites, this is really surprising. New York Times, maybe, not that I would regularly. Yeah, apparently, maybe, I don't know if they have some alternative handles there, like I have www6 or whatever, explicit whatsoever, but maybe not. And what else does come to mind? Does even the German also not? Are you completely kidding me? Can't be serious. Anyway, I'm surprised how much is broken. Even 20 years, you would think, if you see articles, IPv6 adoption is at, I don't know, 2% or something of that sort, then you know why. And I would actually expected some other sites. What other sites would we regularly visit? Any other request here for what stuff we could try? Engage does Wikipedia certainly should work, doesn't it? Hello? Can't. This is not. Whatever's up with that now. But Wikipedia works just slowly. And yeah, at least not the whole internet is broken. At least we learned something. Does something like Firefox or Mozilla work? Mozilla? Somehow right now not the fastest. Apple works. Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft works, but we want to close that instantly. And where's our Mozilla? Somehow slowly or whatever. But I'm also surprised that GitHub does not work. A real surprise in my opinion. This is really, I thought slash dot works, but was there not IPv6 dot slash dot? Was it slash dot org? Whatever. There you have it. Internet still not everything works. Still, surprisingly, I would have thought, well, again, our unsuccessful one-man stuff here obviously doesn't work, except maybe tomorrow when I reconfigured all this stuff. But yeah, the IPv6 internet is still quite a graveyard. If you judge here from these results, what else would any other take us here? But Reddit, let's see, Reddit. What Reddit also does? Are you completely kidding me? You can't make this up. I mean, Google works. Let's Google DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Come on, you can do it. It's an ad. They pay for an ad. Are you? My recurring advice: you really do not want to pay Google ads for stuff where you Google your name and you already get the results. It's hilarious. You don't do this. Really not. But DuckDuckGo doesn't have IPv6. Are you completely kidding me? What would, let's hope this didn't, let's see, what would that be? That would as look up or something, or dig, what, I don't have dig here. Come on. Anyway, I'm so really surprised. I need to check if there's something else wrong with some name server or does not have IPv6 enabled. Really not. This is hilarious. Reddit IPv6. Yeah, so this is why I make this live stream. If you wonder why do I make this random live stream, not only, well, first of all, I wasted here half of the day. And so why does stuff cost money, right? You just enable IPv6 in your company, stupid. Yeah, obviously, right? So multiple quarters, and it's no wonder you fire up some DHCP server, you get some response, and then you spend the whole afternoon fiddling around and you don't get the right prefix that you supposed to get, and then you give up until the next quarter when you think you finally want IPv6 ready working here. And by the way, if you watched, and this is of course amazing, the recurring theme here, when we are at the end of the live stream, we have the most people watching. Most important shout out now, warning, flash, warning, 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 important. So the setup that from all the previous stuff that have shown. So I use this as a template because I wanted to have here some IPv6. So this is indeed working well, unless, as I said in the previous stuff, the one this here is in the upstream DHCP v6 or whatever you want to call it. This IFID1 stuff, this is not supported. You need to patch it. But if you want to use it, but warning, warning, warning. I couldn't say this enough. This is not a secure, this is not a privacy agnostic configuration. So because what I already suspected, and I could only test now, what this setup with, I've running here DNS masquerade here on this small home office setup here for test equipment purposes. And this is totally not secure because, well, or secure. So this is forwarding with the /56 prefix that we get. So we have a whole stack of static IPv6 addresses. And what you normally have is you have in your office or small home office whatsoever, you have maybe one fixed IP4 address, fixed or dynamic or whatsoever. So only your router is reachable from the internet, right? So all the evil hackers and people, they hit first your router, which is doing network address translation. And what network address translation means is that you have one fixed IP address, like 111.222, whatever. That is your telephone number stuff reachable from the outer internet. And all your clients behind your router, they have private addresses, 192.168, whatever. They are not rooted in the internet, they are local only. And your router is doing network address translation, masquerading all your local addresses, rewriting the IP address to your public address, and when the packets come back from all the servers, masquerading, rewriting them again, network address translation to your internal address. So your Linux server in kernel, of course, monolithic kernel, right? Amazing. So it has a huge table, connection table, and it needs to match all those connections. It needs to connection track those and rewrite this source and destination addresses, and with all the packets coming in and out. And what this configuration, so huge warning, what I suspected and what is true, this is why I did not want to show you the address, because right now, not only this Mac for testing purposes, because I can't have the YouTube dashboard, live dashboard on any other machine for some strange reason, but also my Linux desktop that I'm live streaming from, they have right now one of those static public routable IPv6 addresses really forwarded from, forwarded auto-configured to those clients. So I tested this, right? So this two clients, which has from DNS masquerade, this small home office DHCP server, assigned a public available IPv6 address. And in my opinion, you probably do not want to root this. So this has some benefits, right? So this means that for IP telephony or file sharing or all the other fun stuff, those machines have finally, if you wanted to, a public reachable address. But that also means that all the hackers and crackers can directly hit your local clients without a firewall, right? Which in most terms is 99% of the configurations right now with this one public IPv4 address with network address translation is basically already some kind of firewall, because all your hundreds of local clients in your home office are not public reachable. So huge warning, you probably don't want to do this. And initially this also means that all the websites can much better track you, right? Like Google, this is Google's wet dreams, right? And Google and everyone else, because when you go to New York Times, which although they don't have IPv6 for some unsuccessful one-man corporation reason, they can track you so amazingly, right? Because then all your clients, if you have such a setup, your PlayStation 3 has one IP, public IP, and so on. And of course, they don't need to do cookie stuff or whatsoever. They can so pinpoint you precisely. And this is additionally, I don't worry about that privacy too much. I'm much more worried that all those unsecure stuff is exposed directly to the internet. So probably, in my opinion, you probably don't want to do this. You most likely want to have some local IPv6 segment and do network address translation for this firewall kind of reason. But if you have any other additional insight, as usual, leave me in the comments below. How you would want to do this. So probably I wouldn't recommend this for this, because granted, right, even if you have a source distribution that you rolling release source distribution where you update all the stuff, even I don't update. I'm not even on this box. I'm running the latest Linux kernel, right? So it has the latest and greatest stuff from the last 7 days or so not patched or something, and then it's even on T2, right? There are so many packages, you never know what kind of stuff you have not updated in a year because you never noticed that something updated. But on top of this, of course, Mac OS Windows much more insecure, probably most likely anyway. In my opinion, you really don't want to expose Mac and Windows machines to a public IP address to the internet. Now we have some comments, which is of course amazing, which I probably should go over now. It's a little bit small on this small 12 or 11 inch failing MacBook. And for some reason, I never can be sure. So today we have 0 drop frames. This was very rare in latest times. Often we had some at least, well, unless sometimes we were unlucky with this failing Vodafone DOCSIS cable. Sometimes we had 10 or 20%. Usually we had 2 or 3 0 drop frames. So I have no idea. This is why I was curious to test this also. If maybe we are lucky and IPv6 routing fixes a little bit of our Google throughput if we are lucky for some magic reason. I mean, OBS certainly doesn't connect to IPv6, right? So maybe I'm nearly, I don't know, am I right now? Could be. I mean, I patched my OBS, right? I don't know if I'm, at least through YouTube, maybe the only one in the world who's streaming over IPv6, maybe, unless someone else is streaming without OBS or has it patched also, I don't know. But yeah, damn, this is small here. So I can't recommend an 11 something a decade old Mac. It's a little bit small also. Can we, why is this, or maybe I zoom it differently like that. The zooming is better. Amazing stuff. Yeah, so business without, we read this, Reddit doesn't, tactical also not, does not, yeah, so thanks for confirming. Usually, so you could look this up with NSLOOKUP, which I for some reason may have not on this desktop machine. NSLOOKUP or dig another name server lookup stuff. Looks similar to the one used 9 years ago. Amazing stuff. DuckDuckGo does not have it. Surprising, yeah. And for me, it's surprising that, well, our recurring joke here of insider joke of unsuccessful moment stuff, right? I mean, even I enabled IPv6 on the server already 2 years or 3 years ago, only for test purposes, up and down and this and that, and never was much used. So even I had more IPv6 running than New York Times. Apparently Slashdot, although I thought Slashdot has some IPv6. I remember a decade ago there was some IPv6.slashdot something. German Tagesschau, all the others, Reddit. I mean, hello, seriously, IPv6 is coming since IPv6 is coming longer than Wayland, and that is something to top for sure. Yeah, so all the super big sites, that is all the small sites like OS News, T2, yeah, obviously, right? But if everything goes well, I probably have on our, yeah, probably I will probably enable maybe over the weekend I will most likely enable IPv6 on everything now that I can test it better. And yeah, then we are more successful than all the other mega successful mega corporations. Just block all incoming IPv6 to the clients and open it up an individual. Yeah, so you mean, okay, so probably you mean IP, was it even here like IP tables, established, not established, does it even have here firewalling? Probably something like this, right? Like forward state, wait, is it all established connections? Forward drop, policy default, yeah, probably something like that sort. Also, shout out, and this is for all the, because certainly I knew nothing, right? Most stupid here. It's so funny. It's on Twitter, yeah. Why do I still? I mean, if Twitter is for people like Donald Trump, why do I even use it, right? Another huge shout out. The default IP tables is only if you have on your server IP tables drop something or drop a default drop and then enable some SSH or port 84 HTTP or whatever. This is only for IPv4, right? As you see here. So this is why you should watch, subscribe, share, and everything. Here's this amazing unsuccessful one-man channel, because I'm not making this live streams to only yell at the cloud. Also that you learn something. So if you want IP, on at least on Linux, if you want to firewall IPv6 you need to use IP6 additionally, unless you use some administrative tools that might duplicate all the rules twice, which I probably will change in T2. I will most likely change our network configuration stuff because I don't find this particularly secure. So I will most likely change our totally not IPv6 ready one-man distribution stuff to maybe default if you run our integrated, well, very small lightweight abstraction stuff for this. If you don't specify it, that all the rules are generated duplicated for IP tables and IP6 tables, which I probably don't find the most amazing default. If I would on Linux, if I would be the designer of this, the chief architect of this, I would most likely make the choice that unless you specify something, the default is for both. And if you want something explicitly for version 4 or version 6, then -4 and -6 or something, because if you don't know this, well, always, yeah, you need to have the schooling and training and read the document, read the fucking manual. But yeah, honestly, I think by default this stuff should maybe a little bit more secure, but there you have it. This is not sure how the BSD stuff is doing this, but yeah, don't forget this, otherwise you are not dropping those IPv6 packets. Let's see, also default for consumer CPEs, not just block also incoming, or connect host on command host on Linux and connect to IRC via IPv6. That's all for the last decade, and yeah, maybe till mainstream 2050. Yeah, at this pace, I'm so surprised. I mean, well, at least some sites support IPv6, but I also wonder what the big infrastructure companies are thinking, that their DHCP server has such a strange configuration that you start configuring it and then you can't configure it correctly because until the lease expires you get still the wrong prefix. And why by default do they even send here some /64 prefix? Why do I specifically need to add some option, DHCP option, additional stuff to get this? This is hilarious. And why do I criticize this? In my opinion, this is a total waste of time. This is a recurring theme. All the big companies, Apple, Microsoft, telecommunication companies, they waste so each and everyone's time. You remember the longer subscribed audience when I made the live stream of they sent us a new modem, we upgrade the bandwidth, mostly for YouTube live stream, by the way, 0 drop frames, maybe IPv6 to the rescue. I already questioned that, because we had 200 Mbit down and whatever up, I forgot 8 or something of that sort, and then we upgraded to mostly only to have the 25 or later 50. I think right now we should have 50 Mbit. By the way, we could do a speed test just for the fun of it. So if you can watch this video, long story short, that they wanted to desperately send us a new modem, and I knew already that this will be shit with the fixed IP address and everything. And of course it was like this. They sent it to us, it was unnecessary, it was rated the same DOCSIS 3.1 speed, it was unnecessary, it only wasted our time. Of course it didn't configure it so that we get the fixed IP address and the bridge mode. It had this non-bridge mode, and then it required, you couldn't enable it. 10 support calls later, it still wasn't enabled. And again, similar to this, now other people waited the whole afternoon to get the correct DHCP replies after this expired. And the same with this bloody bridge mode of this bloody modem, that it only could be enabled after it got a firmware update. Also, why do they send it with not the latest firmware update, and why can the bridge mode only be enabled with the latest firmware update? It's hilarious what the big infrastructure company exposed to us and wastes everyone's time. And this, not only mine, multiplied with 10,000 of administrators. By the way, is today administrators? They're probably not. I think it was months ago. But yeah, let's run a speed test and then let's get out of here. And speed test here. Let's see if at least that Dr. Goda. It's hilarious. So yeah, I probably have to run here dual config. I will probably leave this running and leave it, update the firewalling stuff and what the speed test also. Okay, I think Google has a speed test, which is of course hilarious that this speedtest.net also doesn't do IPv6 apparently. Yeah, so amazing. But there you really wonder. I mean, since we have it, I tried to enable it here, and finally I've done it. But what is wrong with all those companies who really do network business that they don't have this? It's but Google also has some here. Wow, but right, fastest Netflix, right? All of them you probably should on most of the cloud VMs. Fastest unit. Hey, hello. I think Google also has one. Let's see. Wait a second. What's this? It's ridiculous. I misspoke on my previous live stream. The book, I said 2019. Of course, I meant 1998, which I correctly said. I said the book was printed in 2019, and looking into it, of course, I meant 1998. And then I correctly said this book is already 20 years old, which means it was printed so much too. You tell something on YouTube and then you babble here some uncontrolled nonsense. Maybe this Google Fiber also doesn't have a speed test. So not even the Google speed test works over IPv6. Well done, Google. Well done. 2 thumbs up. This is amazing. Achievement unlocked. Live on YouTube, only on speed test Chrome. So yeah, okay, good luck finding. But I think I speed test IP. I think I earlier today was on an IPv6 speed test. There was something like IPv6 test something. Maybe this here. Hello, can we also start speed test? Maybe. Yeah, fuck this. This wants to show my address. Maybe let's see. Yeah, it's maybe the address was, but this address is temporary. So there is a privacy extension to all the crap we don't know. Shows 88.9 Mbit, which obviously, yeah, I wanted to see maybe this address was visible for a brief fraction of a second, but this was only the temporarily generated address anyway, which that is a privacy extension which intentionally randomly generates temporary kind of hashed addresses that each other afternoon or day or night you get another random address, not to be as trackable as, because when they did this 20 years ago, initially in 1996ish, privacy was even less a thing. There was not yet so much Google tracking, right? So at that time, Google only had their do-it-yourself cheapskate boards in the metal shelves there, ghetto style, just like we do. And there was not yet as much tracking stuff. That only came much later, probably. And so the privacy extension of IPv6 is also newer. And privacy extension mostly means generating random addresses that you are not as trackable, but you are still, it doesn't solve that you are still directly addressable, which you probably then want to run those IP6 table rules to drop all not established from inside connections. Still not a paid advertisement, but if someone wants to contact me for paid advertisement, you're welcome for this increasingly successful and now IPv6 ready channel. Let's see, fast check upstream as well. Just click more, or really, let's test this again. Fast speed test. This was, I think, fast Netflix with a heavy load of this. Show more info. The more you live stream, the more you know. Upload. Now it's testing upload. Interesting. So of course with it, but again, this IP address. Okay, fine. Now you have it. Maybe. Anyway, I will probably take this interface down, get a new one anyway, and update the IP6 tables. Maybe don't try to hack my poor little desktop Linux thing here in the next minutes. It's running a relatively new kernel anyway. And probably not too many listening services, I would say. Anyway, so thanks for that tip. I didn't know that yet. The more you live stream and live chat here with this amazing audience, thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you learned a ton, and enjoyed this hanging out over IPv6 together. And as usual, leave me in the comments below who of all of you is already IPv6 connected and were based on the MAC address with the network card. Yeah, so this is of course still the link local address is still link local plus MAC address of the network card. And yeah, fun stuff. Thanks for watching. Stuff is working. I hope another day over this weekend I can makes this permanent. Of course, right now this is temporary, and probably also this is of course also hilarious. Some of the stuff in Linux, for example, right now the DHCP scripts are fighting over etc, at least on the server, over etc/etc/resolve.conf, and now the IPv4 and IPv4, although we have a fixed IP address, we still have the DHCP client running to get this from the server, because that is from the infrastructure server, because that is what they want from the carrier grade business stuff. So it's DHCP just fixed, and so the IPv4 and IPv6 clobber and override each other, the /etc/resolve.conf, amazing name server lookup technology in 2019. Probably I think I wanted already quite some time ago, like a decade ago, change our default IPv4 script for the ISC DHCP daemon to mark those lines with like #auto IPv4 or something, that it doesn't like overwrite the file but only deletes those lines that the DHCP daemon has written there, and not all of them, because right now every other minute the IPv4 and IPv6 name servers are getting overwritten by each other. So yeah, fun stuff. More comments as usual. It's of course, I mean, it's amazing, so many people watching. Let's see what is system D also loves to screw with resolve.conf. Yeah, this is why we are not we are an unsuccessful one-man distribution. We don't support system D. Are you kidding me or what? Not in my house. I mean, maybe did I package it for fun? Not sure. Maybe not. Maybe I packaged it for but okay, maybe I package system D for fun this weekend, if maybe we don't have a package. Maybe I just package it for the fun. Of course I will not test it, right? I mean, not that you think I will test system D. Obviously not. Just to be it, so then the Debian people are like, hey, you don't even have system D. Like, no, of course we have system D. I don't support it, but I have it. So can't even ask my data center Montreal because Cisco switches what the heck, kidding me? That's hilarious. Yeah, at least our unsuccessful data center in Germany support IPv6, and I have it running, so I can. So fun fact, even although I took those name server pointer stuff down, I left it running because this is how I use. So I always tested IPv6 with my own data center stuff, and yeah, now I can put this DNS entries back there and reconfigure this, and hopefully another day on this weekend this infrastructure DHCP server gets its act together and gives us the right prefix, and then we are running dual stack here and can test all this fun stuff. And yeah, maybe in the future just stream over IPv6, because we have the recurring theme here that we get quite some frame drop, and it would be curious to see if IPv6 connectivity improves that, if we are lucky, or something of that sort. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, hope you learned something, thanks for watching this IPv6 only stream here, and don't forget to share, like and subscribe for all the much more, even more amazing stuff to come. Now I need to find, so this was there.